What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I am back with more news about Terastal Festival, showing you some more EV EXs. Now, of course, I showed you a bunch in the previous video. There was too much for one video, just to put it bluntly. Worth noting, I didn't actually mention this before, so let me mention it now. There is actually a Sylveon EX in this set. Of course, Sylveon being the only Pokemon that had previously had an EX in the modern era. But don't get terribly excited, it's an alternate art. Now, it is an alternate art, it's not a straight reprint, which is nice, because at least we do get that lovely new artwork and all of that. But it's just the same Sylveon we had before. It's got Magical Charm, does 160 and reduces damage by 100. And it's got Angelite that lets you put two of your opponent's bench Pokemon back into their deck, but it's not an attack that can be used 2 turns in a row. So we've had this for a little while. We know it's not actually all that good, which is a little bit sad, but we've had it for a little while, and it's not been all that good. Sorry about that. The good news is there are a couple of Evolution EXs we have not yet talked about in these videos, and there's a new ACE SPEC as well, so do not worry your pretty little heads about it. We have got plenty to talk about. We might as well start on a new supporter as well, it's really good. But we might as well start off with our old friend Umbreon. Now, before we get going, I need to make a quick note here that we don't know what's going on with these cards. Now, if this was a regular set, I would tell you full art guaranteed. Special illustration rare is going to happen for about half of them, but we don't know which ones. This is not a regular set. This is a special set. This is Terastal Festival. So it could well be that we get full art versions, or shiny versions, or special illustration rare versions. The reality is we don't know. We don't actually know what the deal is here. Because it's a special set about which we've not really been given all the information, I cannot tell you. Obviously, the biggest card in the Sword and Shield era was the Umbreon card from Evolving Skies. So, if there is a special version of Umbreon, it is almost certainly going to be inflated very quickly because people are going to make it the new Umbreon VMAX, whether it should be or not. But we don't know. It's a big question. It's a great question. It is not a question to which we currently have an answer. So as soon as we have news about this, I'll let you know. But I don't know if there's going to be a special illustration rare or anything along those lines. Sorry. So what we've got here is an Umbreon. And we've got 280 HP, weakness to grass, and we got free energy, 160 plus confusion. It's fine. It's actually not too bad, to be fair, because again, as I've told you previously, regarding these evolutions, we've got the EV from Surging Sparks that lets you evolve turn 1 or the turn you play it. And we've got Glass Trumpet, which lets you accelerate energy to your benched EV. And it is only to your EV. The evolutions are, of course, not colorless Pokemon. They can't use it. But you can do EV and then evolve up. And this, using colorless energy, can actually go and use double turbo as well. So you mash all them cards together and you're like, yeah, this can be a turn 1 attack going second. Because you're allowed to evolve. You can use Glass Trumpet before you evolve. You've got double turbo, blah, 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 you're good. It's fine. And obviously with double turbo, it'd be 140 plus confusion because of the minus 20. And it's all right. It's fine. It's not a stunning attack, but it will 2-hit KO almost everything if you're not using double turbo. And I've said for years, if you can't get a 1-hit KO, get a 2-hit KO with disruption. So yeah, it's all right. It's fine. But the second attack, lightning, psychic, darkness, discard all energy from this Pokemon. Draw a prize card. Oh! Yeah, that's pretty good. You just take a prize. Simple as that. You just take a prize card. And that is redonk, ladies and gentlemen. Redonk. Because this is not the first time we've seen this kind of attack in the past. We have seen these kind of things before. A Kartana GX was one that saw a bunch of play back in Crimson Invasion because single energy Blade GX, it was a once per turn GX attack, take a prize card. Now that was single energy on a basic Pokemon that actually also had a really nice ability that let you discard a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. but that was a card that actually saw a bunch of play. So, could Umbreon? I mean, not like Kartana, let's be clear. Kartana, basic Pokemon single energy. Umbreon stage 1 free energy, that is a whole heck of a difference. But if you're playing this or can play it naturally in a deck, this is a phenomenal attack. Obviously, Glass Trumpet and Eevee are going to help here. You can, if you really want to be resetting the energy every turn, you can use Glass Trumpet like you should be anyway, but then combine it with the Blissey that you can Glass Trumpet onto and then move the energy over. You can obviously use this with Crispin and Sparkling Crystal, which actually also gives a really, really straightforward way to use this turn 1 going second. Just get Eevee active, evolve into Umbreon, Sparkling Crystal, Crispin, boom. Do it. And, side note, if you're in a sudden death game, and it's just next prize wins, yeah. Umbreon's pretty good. And that's the best thing about this, right? If it's next prize wins, or you're one prize away from winning, and you just can't get a KO or whatever, Umbreon's got your back. I'm giving this 4 Wassies, but I think it could be better than that. This has a lot of potential. It could be amazing, it could be garbage, and I love that. I think it's awesome. It's not Kartana, but then again, it can be used every turn. Last evolution we need to be having a look at here is, of course, Espeon, and what we got here is 270 HP, weakness to darkness. Not ideal, there's a bunch of darkness around right now. And we've got Psychic Double Colorless, 160, discard a random card from your opponent's hand, which I kind of love. What I really like here, there's 2 times I like this. Firstly, you've got the whole turn 1 going second. I've explained to death at this point how you can use these turn 1 going second. But also I adore this when you combine it with Reset Stamp. I love the idea that your opponent takes a prize and then just go, ha, Reset Stamp, ha, Espeon. And then your opponent's got one random card in their hand, and then maybe they draw out of it. Could happen, but there's also a decent chance they don't, and that's legit hilarious to me. I think this is wonderful. I think there's a lot of potential with this card. I think this card could work. Oh, so much fun. No, it's not going to work against everything. Yes, some decks are going to be able to draw out of it, but the potential here is very, very, very high indeed. We've then got 1 Grass, 1 Psychic, 1 Darkness, Amethyst, to evolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by shuffling the higher stage evolution card into your opponent's deck. Now, this is where I get a little bit excited, because you're shuffling into the deck. We've seen TM Devolution seeing a bunch of play lately, but the thing with TM Devolution is it puts the Pokemon into your opponent's hand. So it's basically pointless against stage 1s. Because if you do this, your opponent is just going to get it back. They're just going to be like, oh, evolve it again. It's pointless. A stage 2 that's gone through the stage 1, this is pointless. But not if you're putting it into your opponent's deck. Then they've got to actually search it out again. Obviously, one of the best uses for this is mocking your opponent for using rare candy. We've seen this a bunch of times on official streams where an opponent will play in like a Charizard Pidgeot deck. And of course, they are both Pokemon you rare candy up. You wait until you're pretty sure they've got no rare candy, and then you're like, devolve them both. And at that point, even though they go to the hand, they can't re-evolve because they don't have the rare candy. Here, they don't have the rare candy, and it goes back to the deck. This is why I like Espeon way more than something like TM Devolution, because it goes to the deck, so you then force your opponent, even if they can just re-evolve, they've got to search them out again, which is brilliant. Way better than TM Devolution, although it is free awkward energy on a stage 1, I grant you. And yes, I'm going to do it again, I'm going to mention my boy Palisand. Gotta mention my boy Palisand. Palisand put all your opponent's Pokemon down to 100 HP remaining, so obviously if there's a bunch of evolution Pokemon there, this will devolve and then KO them. I don't think it's the best way to play Palisand, but I think it's fun, so I've got to mention it. Let's give this... I'm giving this one 4 Wossies. I don't even care. I don't even care that I'm giving them all the same score, basically. I think this Espeon has a lot of potential. Could go wrong, could be rubbish, but I think it could be awesome. You know what else could be awesome? A new ACE SPEC. How about Max Rod? Yeah, it's like Super Rod and all of that, but to the max. Also, note that there are 5 Pokeballs on the string here. Lovely touch on the artwork. And what you do is you choose 5 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy from your discard pile, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Yeah. The thing about Super Rod is, Super Rod's very good. Super Rod is 3 rather than 5, but Super Rod goes to the deck. And then you've got to go and actually search them out. We just did a whole thing about deck versus hand. Yeah. Going to the hand rather than the deck is good. So good, in fact, that we actually have a card right now that does this and sees a huge amount of play. It's Night Stretcher. How many Pokemon of basic energy does Night Stretcher let you have back? 1. Night Stretcher lets you get 1. And it sees a huge amount of play. It is a staple in a whole bunch of decks. It's a phenomenal card. This is 5 of them. Literally 5 Night Stretchers in 1. Night Stretcher says put a basic energy or Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. This puts 5 in any combination thereof. There are going to be decks that love this. I mean, imagine this in, I don't know, like a Chen Pao deck, where all of a sudden you don't have to discard anything from your hand, but now you can get 5 more energy to attach with Baxcalibur. And look, I know Chen Pao isn't that good right now. It's just an example. You need a whole bunch of Pokemon in a hurry, this has got your back. You need a whole bunch of energy, this has got your back. And the thing is, because they go back to your hand, they are usable immediately. Absolutely immediately, and that's what's cool. As with every ACE SPEC, we are stuck with that same question of, okay, but are we going to? Because we've got so many good ACE SPECs right now. I've already mentioned Reset Stamp in this video. Obviously, Prime Catcher is the best of the ACE SPECs. So there is a real question about how many decks are going to want this over the other ACE SPECs available. That is always a question. I still think this is a 5 Wossie card. I think this is a genuinely phenomenal card. And it's weird with ACE SPECs now, because on the one hand, I legitimately believe this is a phenomenal card. And I am completely unsure how much play this is actually going to see, because I think several of the ACE SPECs are 5 Wossie cards. And that's huge. But it also lets you pull off some really weird plays. So let's take, for argument's sake, Dusknoir. One of the awkward things about Dusknoir is drawing into all of the Dusknoir at the right time. Well, here, you can basically just discard all of your Dusknoir, be evolving into Dusclops or just, hoarding rare candy in your hand or whatever, and then play this to get 2, 3, 4 back at the same time and immediately play them. As an example. Just one example. But I'm just saying this is the kind of thing where you can actually really pull off some weird plays, stashing Pokemon in your discard so you can later grab them with this. I love this card. I cannot tell you how much play it's going to see, but I can tell you it's got a lot of potential. And if it doesn't see play, it is literally just because of other ACE SPECs. But we have one more card we need to have a chat about today. It is a very good new supporter card. We've got ourselves Amarys. And this is a weird kind of supporter card. It is a supporter card that lets you draw 4. And here's the thing, right? We've seen a million cards over the past couple of years that let you draw 4. There's always a catch. And oh my word, is there a catch. At the end of your turn, if you have 5 or more cards in hand, discard your hand. Oh. Yeah. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a big fat catch. So here's the thing, right? My first reaction to this was, cool, all right. I just won't end my turn with 5 or more cards in my hand. I will just make sure that I always end my turn with 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 cards in my hand. So this just becomes a straight draw 4 with no downside. And in theory, that's great. But we all know that theory doesn't always work. And the big issue with trying to do that is, that one turn you end up with a bunch of supporters and energy and cards that you just can't thin from your hand. Yeah, you have to discard your entire hand. Now, there is actually a way to guard against this. A way to guarantee that will never be a problem. Squobe it. You'll whack one of them dudes on your bench, and you can actually guarantee that you will never end up with 5 cards in your hand at the end of your turn, because all you need to do is just, make sure you got this dude, shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 1 card, job's a good one. It will actually work, but then you're basically taking up a bench space relying on this. And secondly, look, shuffle draw 1 when you don't want to is not ideal. It's better than discarding your entire hand, but it's not ideal. It's very much a kind of half measure. This is a risky card. I've seen people talking about using this as a way to discard your hand. I do not like it as a way to discard your hand. I don't like that at all. Because at that point, it's basically like blindly playing a professor's research regardless of what's in your hand and then not drawing afterwards. And that's just not a good thing. I really intensely dislike this if we're going for the whole, I'll discard my hand, it's fine. I want to get cards in a discard. No, we've got good discard. I don't like this at all. I like this as I'm going to draw 4, and then I'm not going to have 5 cards or more in my hand at the end of my turn, so I'm just going to draw 4, and that's going to be awesome. The biggest issue here is, of course, like I say, that can go wrong, and if you accidentally have too many cards in your hand, not great. And, let's take a deck like Ceruledge, right? Ceruledge wants to have a lot of energy in a discard, so you get a bunch of energy in a discard, and then you hit more damage with Ceruledge, and job's a good one, right? Okay, fine. But then you got a 0-card hand coming into your next turn, or 1-card hand. Who wants that? No. Do not like this as discard. We got other discard. Really like it as a straight draw 4, but like I say, you miscalculate, things go wrong. I'm giving this 3 Wassies because this could legit be a great card. And I do think there are going to be people out there that can make really good decks with it. However, I also think that it is potentially too risky. So there we go. Couple new EXs, new Ace SPEC, big new supporter, lots of good stuff. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Mary Sanders Lazenby, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.